Everybody, welcome to a Mike Talk on a Friday morning. Glad that you're with me. Looking forward to just some time off this afternoon and relaxing. I probably have to do the lawn because now it's raining. All last week it rained and my yard needs to be mowed again. I can't believe I'm mowing already in April, but I guess that's the way it's going to be for a while. So I don't know what you guys are up to today. Maybe you're working, maybe you're hanging out with family, but I hope that you include God in it. And this is a good start. Mike Talks. I'm going to ask you to journey with me to Esther. By the way, it's still Cinnamon Roll Day. I went and had a complete physical Monday, and my doctor was not pleased that I was sharing with you, my congregants, that Friday is Cinnamon Roll. She doesn't think apparently the Cinnamon Roll is very healthy, and I know this. But my numbers are better than they were 6 years ago when I last had a complete physical. So I'm not inclined to stop eating cinnamon rolls on Friday. So pray for me, okay? Pray that the Lord opens my heart to His Word and does not clog my heart with those cinnamon rolls. I love you guys. I hope you're praying for me. I'm praying for you, and I'm glad that you're joining me. Would you travel with me today to the book of Esther? Esther is one of these very unique books in the Old Testament. You probably know this, but if not, let me remind you, Esther is about a woman who was chosen out of all the kingdoms. And this guy's kingdom, Ahasuerus, is the king's name from Esther chapter 1. And it says that he reigned from India to Ethiopia. So think of the middle part of the African continent all the way over to the subcontinent of India. All that territory in between. He ruled over. It was quite the kingdom. He got mad at his wife and fired his queen. Then he did a talent search through the whole kingdom to find the most beautiful girl to be his queen. And that girl ended up being a little Jewish girl named Esther. There's a big plot involved with this, but a guy that is after the Jewish people, he doesn't like the Jewish people. Haman sets up a plot for the king to destroy the Jewish people. Mordecai, who is the uncle and the spiritual supervisor of Esther, advises her to take a step of faith and to save the Jewish people. And before I get to this verse in Esther chapter 4, I want to say something about the book of Esther. The book of Esther does not mention God. People don't pray to God. God doesn't speak. But it's about the Jewish people, God's people, and the persecution that's against them and a willingness of a person in the right place in the right time. Here's the verse. You've heard it before, and maybe you've been encouraged with it. I want this to be your encouragement on a Friday. Esther was saying and reminding Mordecai, her uncle, by the way, through servants. Mordecai was a servant in the king's palace, but he couldn't come in contact with Esther. So servants were running these messages back and forth between Uncle Mordecai and Esther, the queen, who was Jewish. And he was saying, listen, you're going to have to do something about this. And Esther reminded him, listen, I can't just walk into the king. The king has to invite me in. If I just walk into the king and he's mad at me or he's displeased, he could just kill me. You just don't walk into the king anytime you want. You've got to be invited in, even as his wife. But Mordecai said, you've got to do something. And here's the verse, and the verse that I want to encourage you with today. Verse 12, chapter 4, verse 12. They told Mordecai what Esther had said. And then Mordecai told them to reply to Esther, do not think to yourself that in the king's palace you will escape any more than all the other Jews. For if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have come to such a place, who knows whether you have come, I'm going to get this right, it's Friday. Wait a minute. I get this right because this is the question. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this? That's the question for you today. Who knows that you've not come to this classroom, to this office, to this cul-de-sac, to this street, to this house, to this church, to this gathering of people socially, to this line in the store, Who knows that you have not come to this place on this day for this purpose? Mordecai is going, I think God ran ahead of us here, and you were appointed as the queen so that when it came time to defend God's people, the Jews, you could step in and defend them, which of course she does, takes her life into her own hands, and the Jewish people are spared, and the enemy of the Jewish people, Haman, is killed. But it's a good question for us. Who knows that you were not brought into this place for such a time as this? And here's the answer. The big answer is God knows. What I want you to think about on this Friday, there's not a place and there's not a situation that you're going to find yourself in today that God's not unaware of. And I believe this, that God, because He knows the situation and because He knows the place we're going to be today, He has purpose for us in that place. Because that's what He does in us through Jesus Christ. So, simple question for Friday. Where are you? What's the situation? And why are you there? Because God has a purpose for you being there. Find that purpose and live in that today. Find the cinnamon roll and smile. Pray for your pastor and think of God's purpose. Who knows that you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this? God bless you guys. Find your place. Find your purpose today.